The Voorblad talks to Mr. Philip van Staden today. He is the head of the Freedom Front Plus in Pretoria, and he's also a council member. Now, how are you today? Quite busy in Pretoria, and we are here to talk to you about an utterance that was made in the council. It was said by Mr. Joshua Ngonyama, the mayoral council member of the ANC in the Committee of Housing, and he said that when boere or farmers light the fires for barbecue, then they create more smoke than in a township. And a lot of people from the Claremont community as well as township inhabitants complained about this. The reason for the complaint is because Mr. Ngonyama said that he will provide electricity meters and fences and water for the township, which was never done. Now, your answer, Mr. van Staden. Mr. van Staden says, many years this has been an issue in the Westmoed. And the issue is that the community is plagued by illegal squatters. And this is in Ward 55, and there are about 20,000 illegal squatters who have been squatting there for the past 5 years. Now, what the ANC does is it uses these squatters to take the ward away in a political way from the opposition. And this ward is mostly Freedom Front and DA constituencies. Now, it's very sad that the mayoral council uses this utterance and illegal squatting to say that the people, the inhabitants of the Westmoed, want to go back to apartheid days, and this is not the case. Many of the inhabitants of the Westmoed are asking for a fence around the squatter camp, and this will help with access control, because it will become a problem in the squatter camp. Now, I was there years ago, and people just squat and build houses, and we believe that the ANC might have been involved in this action. Now, Mr. Ngonyama states that putting a fence around the squatter camp will be going back to apartheid, but this is not the case. The community only asks that the situation be managed and controlled, because if it is not managed, it will become unmanageable. Now, these illegal squatters do not have electricity, water, or sanitation, and this poses a big health risk for the surrounding community and the squatter camp. And this is at the same time that the Tshwane Metro Council adopted an environmental act that the Freedom Front Plus supported. Now, these illegal squatters are going against the bylaws that is part of the environmental impact bylaws. Now, Mr. Ngonyama what he doesn't understand is that there are about 4,000 illegal inhabitants living in the township, and the impact on the environment, with it there be no electricity, no water, no sanitation. If every night all of these 4,000 people light fires to make food or to heat water, there will be a lot of smoke. And these people do not have money, so they do not use proper briquettes or wood. They use plastic, tires, paper, anything that they can get to light the fire. Now, the thing is that in the inhabitants of the Westmoed, when on a Saturday they light their fires for a barbecue, it's not going to be all 100,000 of them doing it at the same time. And they do it within the bylaws. So they use briquettes, gas, wood, everything that is acceptable within the bylaws. Now, what Mr. Ngonyama said shows a weakness when he says that we are going back to apartheid when we want this to happen. And it's not the case. Apartheid has ended. It ended in 1994. It did not work, and it's not coming back. Now, I think that this utterance is very unsensitive, and it's just an indication that in his 2 years that he has been part of the Housing Council, he has not done any work. Now, I'm also part of the Housing Committee, and in the past 2 years, there has been no agenda bullets during the meetings that addresses the housing problems. And when we asked in October about the Pretoria housing problems and asked when we will talk about it, when we will get a solution, we still don't have an answer. On the 22nd of March, we have another meeting, and the opposition parties have decided that we will walk out of that meeting. So Mr. Ngonyama must think twice before he says what he says. So the second part of the question was basically answered. Mr. Ngonyama reacted and said further that Caucasians wanted the township fenced for access control, which takes us back to the apartheid days. So what he basically does is takes the crime situation and makes it a racial issue. And he hides his broken promises behind the apartheid racial card. Mr. van Staden says that this is true. In a meeting that was held in the community in a church in Boysens, and it must be stated that this was not arranged by the illegal squatters, but by the Caucasian taxpayers who inhabit that area. And it would seem that the council member was not happy that there were only Caucasians at the meeting, but he promised the inhabitants that he will provide fences, sanitation, electricity, prepaid electricity and water to the illegal squatters. But now he says that he never said that. But what he doesn't remember, or what he doesn't know or realize, is that minutes were taken and they will be discussed during the next meeting. So what Mr. Ngonyama is doing is he is calling the Westmoed inhabitants liars, and this is going to explode in his face. Remember, he probably promised the squatters exactly the same things to get their votes for the 2014 election. Now, what is going to happen if this is not realized, if they do not get what they promised? Then there's going to be another crisis, because the squatters will then protest. And then we will see who the liar is. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Philip van Staden, for your time, and we hope to have another video when the results of this, or to take another video about the results of this situation.